Hello, I'm Chef Jason, and welcome to the Great Australian Bite, where we share all things culinary, including history, stories, and recipes. So please don't forget to subscribe and join in on the adventure. Welcome, everybody, to our sourdough bake, day 1. If you joined us over the last 14 days, we've been slowly feeding our sourdough starter. As of yesterday, I think we are now ready to start baking. We are going to be making a normal sourdough. Two reasons. One, I haven't made a sourdough for a very long time, so I'm trying to use all my recall to remember how it's done. Secondly, we started this journey 14 days ago, and I think this is a good place to start from. Over the next coming weeks, I'm sure we'll uh, branch out and do something a bit different with it. But for now, we'll start with just a normal sourdough. So let's get stuck into it. All right, so to get us started, we're going to be needing 300 grams of water, 100 grams of the starter, 450 grams of bread flour, and then 10 grams of salt. So the first step is we're going to combine the water and the starter. Get these two things combined, mix them up really well. One of the reasons we use bread flour versus like all-purpose flour, there's a very high protein count in bread flour, and it should work a lot better than I believe than other flours. So make sure this is really mixed well. Remember with your starter as well, if this is a starter that you've been keeping in the fridge, you really want to get it ready quite early. So you want to be pulling it out of the fridge. You want to give it a good feed, a good maybe 6 hours before you want to start baking. So make sure it's pulled out early so it's ready to go by the time you're baking. Make sure when we finish adding the flour, then the salt, that we mix it very well together. Just start off using a fork. You want to make sure we get all the dry flour. Lift it up if you have to look underneath it to see if there's any dry flour on the bottom of the bowl. Mix it all in, incorporate the whole thing together. And what we should be left with after we finish incorporating everything is a very flaky dough. So now we're going to leave it in the bowl, and it's going to rest for 30 minutes, and then we'll be back for our first fold. Okay, that's 30 minutes. We're going to start with our first fold now. So what we're going to do, we're going to fold right around. So we're going to do 4 to 5 folds all the way around. How I like to do it, I like to do it like a clock. So up the top here will be 12 o'clock. Then we'll do it at 3 o'clock, then 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I'll do one more at 12 o'clock. And what this folding does, it actually activates the gluten. We're stretching it and we're starting to activate the gluten now. So we're going to allow it rest for another 30 minutes, and we'll be back for our second fold. Okay, time for our second fold. You're going to find this one a little bit easier. You're going to find that the dough is a lot stretchier. You can pull it a lot further without it tearing now. You're going to be doing the exact same thing again. We're going to be going around the clock, starting at 12, down to 3, folding it over. Then we're going to cover it up and let it rest again for another 30 minutes. Okay, third and final fold. This is going to be done exact same way as the previous 2 folds. Once again, you're going to find it a lot stretchier. You're going to be able to pull it a lot further without it breaking. And after these folds are done, we are now ready for the next step in the process, the bulk fermentation. And this is where we allow the dough to sit, rest, and allow the yeast to get to work. So I'm going to be using a second dish to store my dough now. It's going to be a seafood dish, so I'll be able to see it rise over the fermentation. I'm going to coat the bottom with olive oil and the sides as well, so it doesn't stick. Okay, we're going to place this in the middle of the bowl, put the lid on. Now we're going to wait for the rise. That could take between 3 to 6 hours at room temperature. So we shall see you then. Okay, we've had our dough here proofing for about 5 hours now, so I think we're ready for the next stage. So your dough should have doubled its size by now, so the next stage is the shaping. So pour your dough out onto a flat surface So what we're doing here is we're trying to shape our dough into a round shape. We're going to be circling our hands around the dough and pushing it under, folding it under and turning it at the same time. If you find the dough a little bit sticky, you can get just a little sprinkle of flour and pour it on just to help with the stickiness. So keep doing this until you've got a nice round ball shape. So the next stage we are going to be storing our dough into our Benetton. Now I don't have a Benetton, I'm actually going to be using a wooden bowl. I'm going to be lining the wooden bowl with a lintless tea towel. And I'm going to coat that tea towel with a bit of flour just to help so it doesn't stick. Okay, we just allowed it to sit and rest for about 30 minutes. We're now going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on it, and then gently we're going to turn this dough over for the final fold and shaping. So we're going to pull the dough out now. We're going to pull the corners out and we're going to shape it into a square. Then we're going to grab two corners and we're going to pull it over to about 2/3 of the way over. Once that's done, we're going to do the other side. We're going to pull that out and fold it over till it meets in the center, and we're going to create a little seam there. Now we're going to turn this around and we're going to roll it over. Don't roll it too tight, just gently roll it over, let the weight of the dough do the work. Now with the ends here, we're going to just pull down that little flap and we're going to tuck it underneath. Do that for both ends. And just shape it now so we're going to have a nice little ball here. Now we're going to turn this over. Now the good side is going to be facing down. So gently turn it over and we're going to carefully place it in the middle of our bowl. Okay, so now we'll cover it up and we will put this in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours, or better yet, leave it overnight. And we'll get ready for the baking tomorrow. So see you then. Okay, it's the next morning, so before we pull the dough out, we're going to set our oven to 455 degrees. I will also be popping in the Dutch oven, and we're going to warm that up as well. And pulling the dough out, there probably won't be much of a rise overnight as the cold slows the yeast down. And we will need a piece of parchment paper. This is going to sit at the bottom of the Dutch oven, and that will help make sure our sourdough doesn't stick at the bottom. To pull the dough out, we're going to lay the parchment paper on top of the dough, and then we're going to flip the bowl over, and the dough should fall out very easily. I'm going to brush off any excess flour. Now it's time to score the dough, and unfortunately we don't have a bread plane or a razor blade, so I'm going to try and do this score with a very sharp kitchen knife. My biggest concern is that when we cut into the dough, it's actually going to start pulling the dough rather than scoring it, so we shall see how this goes. And yes, it is. It's pulling the dough a little. I just hope it doesn't have too much of a lasting effect on it. All right, now we're going to put this into our Dutch oven, which we have preheated already. So remember to be very careful because this is going to be very hot. So be careful about burning yourself. And what we're going to do, we're going to cover up the Dutch oven for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to uncover it for about 15 minutes so we can get a good brown on top of it. Okay, it is done, and as you can see, it's not exactly as we intended. It's quite flat and it feels very dense. Does not appear to have expanded at all. I suspect it also will be quite gummy inside once we cut it open. Yep, it's very, very dense and very gummy. Okay, we don't shy away from any mistakes that we made. We tend to embrace them. I feel that's a better way for not just us to learn, but you to learn as well. When we make a mistake, it saves you making the mistake. So let's have a look back and examine what might have happened here. So as I said at the beginning, it's been a very long time since I made a sourdough, and I probably have missed some steps in there. What I might do, I might have a look back at the video, see what I've done. I may talk to a couple of people I know who will be able to help me figure out what I've done wrong, and we'll list step by step what we need to do. Okay, after looking back at the video, I think I found a few issues, and I've also asked for a bit of advice as well as to what may have happened. So I've got three things here I could probably do a little better next time. Okay, so number one, when I first mixed the dough, I kind of now realize that I didn't need it at the beginning. Really, we need to knead that dough for a good 6 to 8 minutes right at the beginning, and that's going to activate the gluten. I think I just left it in the bowl and it was all flaky, and I just left it for the first rest like that. So that's something we will change on the next bake. Number two, the bulk fermentation. Now this is the most important process of what we do here with the sourdough bake. Now I mentioned way back on day one of our starter, when I first did our starter, that our house was quite cool, and I had great concerns for our starter being able to feed well. And what I did, I used a cupboard in our garage to store our starter in, and that helped with the feed over the next 14 days. Now, for the bulk fermentation, I did not keep the dough in the garage. I actually kept it on our bench in the kitchen, and with the air conditioning on, it was quite cool. So that is one thing that may have hurt the dough. And it was kept there on our bench for about 5 hours. And again, in a cold room like that, the dough is not going to really move anywhere. And looking back at the dough, it really did not double in size. And I think one of the biggest fears for any baker, no matter if they're professional or an amateur, is overproofing the dough. And I think there was a fear there of me overproofing the dough, and that is why I didn't keep it any longer. And of course, because of that, it did not rise to what it needed to rise. And I think that's one of the chief reasons why it fell flat. And number three, the scoring. Now, as I did mention, I did not have a bread lame or a razor, and I used a sharp kitchen knife. Also, when I look back at it, I did not cut at an angle. You really have to do that cut at an angle rather than actually deep into the bread. When you cut at an angle, about a 20-degree angle, it goes up like a flap, and then that's how it expands. So that was a mistake. I don't think that contributed to why the bread is the way it is, I think. But the scoring, it's a delicate process and must be done precisely, or your bread will have trouble expanding. Okay, so while all three of those things would have had a contributing factor as to how our bread turned out, I do believe it was the bulk fermentation that was the main culprit here. So next week, we're going to try this sourdough again. And this time, we're going to take some time with it, and we're going to see if we can correct some of the mistakes. In the meantime, thank you for taking this journey with us. If you have any tips or tricks that you'd like to share and how you do your sourdough, please drop them in the comments. They're always welcome. And until next time, thank you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and feel free to leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to check out our other content as well. This is Chef Jason, and don't forget, love is the secret ingredient.